Hello friends, how are you? I hope everyone is doing great. So today I'm going to discuss about REST client. So Spring Boot 6.1 introduces the REST client, a new synchronous HTTP client. Okay, so basically it will provides like modern API and streamlined API for like synchronous access. So before that, if you want like communicate with like RESTful web services, right? So there are different clients and like different templates are available in the market. So here I mentioned like three things. One is like REST template, web client, and Fein client, right? So the first one is REST template, right? So I think REST template basically it's commonly used for like Spring based applications for like synchronous communication with RESTful services, right? But the older REST template is a complex with many overloaded methods, and it will exposing like extensive HTTP capabilities in a template style class, right? So after that, web client is came into the market. So web client is basically um, it supports like both like synchronous and asynchronous HTTP requests, so making it suitable for like reactive programming and non-blocking IO basically, right? So it usually in Spring Webflex applications which are built on reactive program model basically, right? So basically it will making it like ideal for like highly concurrent and event driven applications. If you want to deal with this web client, basically you need to include that Spring Boot starter Webflex dependency, okay? And after that, and Fein client, I think Fein client is a declarative web service client that is developed by Netflix and integrated into the Spring Cloud, okay? So basically it often used in microservices architecture basically, particularly with Spring Cloud, to make it easier to call the other microservices, right? So and so if you want to deal with like this Fein client, okay, basically you need to include Spring Cloud Starter Open Fein dependency in your project. And so what if Spring Boot provides a modern streamlined API for efficient synchronous HTTP access? Okay, so that is like REST client. So overall summary is Spring Boot 3.1 is Spring 6.1 introduces these improvements, tremendous improvements in HTTP access codes by using this REST client. So the REST client can provide a modern streamlined API for efficient synchronous HTTP access, making it an excellent choice for like project seeking straightforward communication with remote APIs basically. Okay, so the overall summary of recommendations are like if you're dealing with like synchronous endpoints, like synchronous endpoints or asynchronous endpoints, depends on your requirement. You can choose REST client or like web client here. So if your requirement is like synchronous endpoint, right? So you can prefer the REST client over the REST template. As I discussed previously, REST template is a legacy one and it has like many overloaded methods. To use like this REST client, you can just include the Spring Boot starter web dependency. Whereas if you want to deal with like asynchronous endpoints, right? So then you can prefer the web client, especially like for asynchronous and streaming needs. So to deal with this web clients, basically you need to include the Spring Boot starter Webflex dependency. Okay. To make use this mock API, okay, this is going to provide like some of the resources. Eventually, I'm going to make use these resources in my services, right? So I'm going to explain how to create these projects and the resources. So first of all, like we need to hit this endpoint, and after that, here we need to create project, right? So the project name, so you can provide like any project name. I'm going to work with like products, so products, okay. And after that, we need to provide your API prefix. So I'm going to take our API prefix as API, and after that, let's click on this create button, right? So it's created our project and it's going to provide like our API endpoint, right? We are going to make use this endpoint in our service, and after that we need to create one RESTful resources, right? So let's click on this new resource, and here you can provide your resource name. Okay, I'm going to take a resource name as products, and after that we need some schema, right? So that schema will have some fields. So I need ID, so this is going to be create automatically, and after that created it not required, and after that name, and here we have a type. So you can take like faker.js, so that like this mock API will create the dummy data for you. And here, so if you're not satisfied with this name dot full name, so I'm going to take like um, commerce product name, right? And after that author also is not required. Okay, I'm going to take the price of the product, and this is also faker.js, and let's take commerce, okay, price, right? So after that, let's click on this create button. Okay, it will create the resource. So resource successfully created. And now, so let's click on this data. You won't see the any data because it's empty. And now, so if you want to create the data, just place the cursor here. So how many records you require, just click on this. So here it is showing 60, right? Let's click on this. Automatically it will fill the records, I mean like products. So if you want to see the products data, just click on this. It will show you all the products related data here, right? So that's it. So it is ready now. So now I'm going to create project by using Spring Boot here. Okay, so I'm going to take builder tool as a Maven and language as Java, and I'm going to choose the Spring Boot version as 3.2.0 because I'm going to make use the REST client. Okay, and after that I'm going to create the project by using some project metadata. So I'm going to take group name as com.example as demo, and after that artifact name is Spring REST client, okay, demo. And after that, so I'm going to packaging as jar, and Java version is 17, right? And after that I'm going to add the Maven dependency, that is like Spring Web dependency. Okay, so this Spring Web dependency will have like REST client. I'm going to use the REST client, right? That is the reason we need only one dependency. And after that you can add like Lombok for setters and getters. That's it. So you can generate this project and you can import into your IDE. I already imported in my project in my like IDE to save the time, right? So now we need REST client being here, right? So we can create a REST client using like one of the static create methods. Okay, and after that you will have like eventually you can also like use like REST client builder to get a builder with like further options such as a specifying the HTTP client to use, setting a default URL, path variables and headers, and registering like interceptors and initializers, right? So let's get start this writing like bean. Okay, I'm going to write one bean, right? So, so basically we need one product client interface. Okay, so I will explain how to create that. Okay, but before that we need REST client, right? So let's create the REST client. Okay, so this REST client have static create method, right? We have three create methods. One will take base URL, and the one is take REST template, but I need this one. Okay, let's create the base URL here, and okay, let's create the variable. Okay, so this variable, okay, we need to initialize with our API endpoint that's we created in the mock API. Okay, this one. So let's copy this and let's paste here. That's it, right? And now, so our REST client base URL is ready now. Now basically we need some HTTP service proxy factory class, right? So do you know like how to make use this HTTP service proxy factory? So basically Spring Framework will provide us with HTTP service proxy factory, so that we can use to generate a client proxy for our HTTP interface. Okay, so that is the reason I'm going to take this HTTP service proxy factory. Okay, so this will have one method, that is builder for method. Okay, So I'm going to use this builder for method. This will accept REST client adapter method adapter class, and which will have a create method, and this will take REST client as a param. That's it. You can just build this, okay, and you can return. So this factory create client method. So our client is product client, right? This one, product client. You can just mention the product client. That's it, right? So this product client is a HTTP interface, right? So I hope like everyone is aware about the Spring framework. I think so like 6 or like Spring Boot 3 enables us to define the declarative HTTP services using like Java interfaces. Okay, so the declarative HTTP interface includes annotated methods for HTTP exchanges. So I'm going to make use that HTTP exchanges. Okay, we can simply express the remote API details using an annotated Java interface, and the Spring will generate a proxy, okay, that implements this interface and performs the exchanges. Okay, basically that will helps to reduce the boilerplate code, right? So before we are going to create the product client, right? So we need basically product entity class, right? So let's create entity class that is product, right? So this is, I need data for Lombok setters and getters, right? So let's take private int id, private string name, okay, private so I'm going to take double, okay, price here. That's it. And let's import this data. And now we need product client interface, right? Okay, this is interface. So inside the client package, I'm going to create this product client. Okay, so this product client, as I explained earlier, okay, will generate a proxy that implements this interface and performs the exchanges. I'm going to make use this HTTP exchange methods here. Okay, so this is the product client. To save the time, I already created this. So this is like straightforward client method, because we already know so how the HTTP methods will look like. This is for like save, this is for like update. Okay, so for the save method we will take like post exchange, and this is our request URI, and this put for like updating the product. Okay, and which will contain like ID and the request body. Whereas if you want to find out by ID, then you can just take the get exchange. Okay, and here we need a path variable that is ID. And apart from this, if you want to find out like all the documents, again we need get exchange. And if you want to delete the product by ID, then we need the delete exchange. With the help of the path param, we will delete it. That's it. So this is our product client. Okay, now go back to like our bean class, and let's import this product client. Okay, so we have imported successfully. Now we need service class, right? So let's create one service class. So inside this service package, I'm going to create our product service, right? So let's implement this interface that is our product client, right? So let's import, let's implement all the methods here. Okay, now we need a REST client method, right? So let's take REST client here. Okay, so now we need to initialize inside this constructor. I'm going to initialize this REST client. Okay, okay, we have a builder method. So inside this builder method, basically we have base URL. So this base URL again, so this endpoint again we need to mention here. Okay, that's it. You can just build this, right? Now our REST client is ready now. So we are going to make use this REST client inside our all the methods. Okay, so REST client. So to save the product, basically I'm going to use the post. Okay, and we have like URI, API file, products. Okay, and so what it will does is basically the REST client post is used to create a post request to the specified URI, right? So this is our URI, and so we have like some content type here. Okay, and after that the body, basically we will specify the product here and retrieve. So the retrieve, if you can see here, the retrieve is a REST client response spec. So what it will does is this retrieve method sends the request and returns the response spec. Okay, it will return the response spec that will containing the API response. Okay, and this request retrieves the, okay, this request retrieves the basically this product. Okay, and at the final one, two bodiless entity, basically if it is void type, then we can use this two bodiless entity, right? And the difference between like save and update is here we need to specify the path variable. Okay, to update like specific ID of the product and to specific product, and we have like body, and so here we are going to return the product in the body, right? And the next one is find by id, right? So we have like REST client get method, so we can make use that. And again we are having URI. Okay, and you can specify the URI. After that we have, okay, retrieve, and after that we have body. Okay, so that is our product class. So here you can specify the path variable. That's it. This get method is used to create a get request to the specified URL here. So here we have a URI. Okay, we'll specify our URI and the path variable here. Okay, to find like specific ID, we will pass the path variable. After that we have a retrieve method, right? That this retrieve method sends the request and return the response spec containing the API response, right? And after that it retrieves the product, right? This one will retrieve the single product, and this will pass the response body to this, okay, product instance. That's it, right? And coming back to like find all, so this is also same like as find by id. Okay, but the difference is, let's copy this, it doesn't contain any id here. Okay, and so this one is basically new parameterized type reference. Okay, so because this one is a list, right? So that is the reason I'm going to take the body as a parameterized type reference here. Okay, and this is find out, right? The last one is delete. So if you want to delete the product, we need like REST client delete method, and here we will have like URI. Okay, so you can specify API products here, and here we will have retrieve method, and we have two bodiless entity, right? And let's remove this return, and now we need to specify the ID. Okay, and let's specify the ID here. That's it. and you can return something like, so that's it. So this is also ready. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to create one controller, right? So let's create one controller, product controller, right? So I already created the controller to save the time. So this is straightforward. I'm not going to explain anything. Okay. So I'm going to make use this product service here to create like all the HTTP related methods, right? So now let's start this application. Okay, application has been started successfully. Now I'm going to fetch like all the products here. Okay, so let's hit this. Okay, it's written like all the 60 products, right? So as we seen in this mock API, so we have a 60 products, right? So all the 60 products has been written successfully. Now if you want to see like any specific product, just search with that specific product. Okay, and if you want to create any product, right? So let's create some product here. Okay, I'm going to create product by using this post endpoint. Let's hit this. Okay, so that is 61, right? So let's, not 61, I think so, sorry. So let's hit this get endpoint. Okay, check this 61 product has been created successfully, right? So post also is working fine. Now let's check the put endpoint, right? So the 61, I'm going to update t-shirt as a shirt here. Okay, let's hit this. Okay, I got the response, and let's check the get endpoint again. Okay, it is updated as a shirt, so it is also working fine. Now the last one is a delete one, right? So let's hit this delete endpoint. So I'm going to delete this 61 product. Okay, let's hit this. Okay, product with ID 61 has been deleted. Okay, now let's get all the products and check it out, how many products are there, right? 60 products are there, right? It's working fine, guys. Now so this is how you can play with the REST client, right? And so here you are returning the product, right? Not here, yeah, here. So suppose your response is like a response entity, right? So how, so response, okay. So if a response is response entity, like if we're like handling like the other responses parts, like such as status, headers, then we can fetch the entity as response entity like this, right? So instead of body, what we need to do is we need to take two entity. Okay, so that's it. So the same thing we will applicable here as well, the client, right? So like this we can make use the two entity, right? And still it's giving the error because in the client, okay, we need to update. Okay, that's it. So come back here. Okay, so like this you can use this response entity. And okay, this is for like consuming like mock API service. So what if like if your service running in local, right? So I already having like one local product service. Okay, so let's say this is a CRUD API application. So I'm going to like consume these services in my product service, right? So what I need to do is, so I need to do some changes. So let me explain. So here we have a base URL, right? So this base URL we need to change it from this mock API to our local URL. Okay, let's comment out, and here we need to mention HTTP localhost. Okay, that service is running on 8080. That's it. And here actually we are implementing this product client, right? So this is also not required, right? So you can just, okay, delete all the override annotations here. Okay, so that's it. And let's restart this service, because this product CRUD API also is the same thing. Okay, which will also having like ID, name and price. Okay, and so this is also going to like provide like CRUD operations. I'm going to consume this uh, product CRUD operations in my service. It's simple. So my REST client application has been started successfully. Now go back here. So now let's hit this endpoint. Okay, so this product CRUD API having only three products, one, two, three, right? So same thing, let's check all the endpoints. This is like find by ID, this is also working fine. And let's post something by using this some data. Okay, so let's take t-shirt. So it's created. Let's get all the products, right? It's created. And now let's update this. So what is the 52 as ID, right? Let's update this. Okay, so like this okay, like this you can consume like your local RESTful services as well. So by mentioning the base URL like this, but this doesn't require any beans like this, right? So this bean is not required anymore, because this bean is required for like to call like mock API service, right? So if you're dealing with like your local services, you can just mention the base URL here, and after that you can directly make use like your REST client methods. That's it. Okay. Okay, so now, so what if like if your consumer service having like some security, right? So how to use this security? So in your REST client, right? So now let's open our consumer service. My consumer service is product CRUD API. Okay, so let's add one dependency, that is Spring Boot starter security dependency. Okay, to enable the security we need to add this dependency. And after that so this is going to provide like default password. Okay, so and default username. So I don't want to use this default username on the password. So to override that, basically we need to add like okay, Spring security username. Okay, I have provided the admin username and the password is this one. Okay, and let's restart this application. Okay, once your product CRUD API is restarted, then I will restart my application as well. Okay, that is Spring REST client demo. Let's stop this. Okay, wait till this product CRUD API is starting. Okay, it is started. So now go back to our service. Okay, let's restart this Spring REST client demo service. Okay, it started. So now when you try to hit this endpoint, right? Okay, this endpoint, so we need to get like unauthorized error, right? Because we haven't provided any security in our application. Okay, we got some error. So let's go back to our console here. Okay, and okay, you can see this, we got like 401 unauthorized error, right? So like this we got this error, right? So to deal with this kind of errors, okay, in our service, what we need to do is we need to work with like a default header method. Okay, so the default header method will take like http headers. Okay, and this will contains the authorization. Okay, and after that, so we need to provide like some encoding logic here. Okay, so suppose let's provide. Okay, so this is my encode basic uh, method. So this will take like username and the password, and it will encode username and the password. Okay, that's it. So I will use this method here. Okay, let's pass admin as a username, and the password is admin at the rate of 123, right? So that's it. So we have used this default header, and we are providing like authorization. So that is encoding basic. By using this encoding basic, we are using base 64 algorithm, okay, to encode like our username and the password, right? So let's restart this application. Okay, so this time we need to access that endpoint. Okay, application has been started. Let's hit this endpoint. Okay, so this time we got the response, right? So like this you can work with like Spring Boot security as well by using this REST client, right? So now, so I'm going to explain about handling the errors. So how to handling the errors by using the REST client, right? So there are two ways like handling the errors. Okay, so one is like so we have like default so one is like default status handler method, so that is like handling like all the HTTP requests, and another one is like on status method. So like for each HTTP request like status, right? So then you can use this on status method. Okay, so first of all I'm going to explain about like default status handler method, right? So let's come down. Okay, so here you will see this default status handler method, right? We have to be used in the constructor because this is the starting part like to initialize this REST client, right? So here, so we need to initialize like our uh, default status handler, right? So basically HTTP status code. Okay, so if HTTP status code is like, okay, if you want to deal with like some specific errors, right? So you can, okay, you can use this error. Okay, so we need like request and response, right? So this request and response, so here you can play with request and response here. So what I will do is I will just print some error. Okay, so I will provide something like product client error. Okay, so here we have a response dot get body, right? So you can use get body or get status, but if you want to get like all the data, right? So you can just write like okay, so new string of, okay, so that's it. So now see how this will behave. So I just use it like default status handler here, right? So let's restart your application. Okay, application has been started. So let's go here and let's, so actually, so with this ID actually product is not available in my database. Okay, so let's hit this. Okay, I got some error. So let's go back to our console. Okay, so here, okay, so you can see this product client. Okay, error, product not found for id 4, right? So like this, while we initializing like REST client, right? So to deal with like all the HTTP request, you can make use this default status handler. So okay, this is one way. So I'm going to remove this. So okay, this is one way of like handling the errors. Another way is we can use like on status method, right? So for each HTTP request, if you want to deal with uh, like handling the errors, right? So then you can make use like on status method. So here I have like get, yeah, find by ID, right? So here what I'm going to do is, here I'm going to use this on status. So after the retrieve method, right? So here I have like on status. So again this same on status method. Okay, so to save the time, so let me copy this entire code. Okay, the same logic, but so instead of like a default status handler, so I'm going to use in specific method, right? So let's take on status. Okay, let's paste here. Okay, so that's it. uh, like this you can use this on status. Okay, so this is also take like some error and request and response, and I'm just printing some log error here. Okay, so let's restart this time. Okay, application has been started. So let's hit this endpoint again. Okay, we got some error, and now let's go back to console. Okay, so now also we are able to see this message, right? So let's come down here. Okay, so now also it's printed product client error. Okay, so like this you can use this on status method for each HTTP request. Okay, so this is like handling the errors. So we have like another one, that is like exchange method. Okay, so what is the exchange method? Basically the exchange method is useful for like situations where the response must be decoded differently depending on the response status. Okay, if you want to play with like request and the response, then you can go for like exchange method. Okay, so let me, okay, remove this retrieve as well. Okay, so I'm going to use the exchange method here. So the exchange method again will take like request and response. Okay, so here, so what I'm going to do is, here I'm going to take the response. Okay, so we have like status code. If the status code is uh, same code as like HTTP status code, we have like value of method. So suppose if it is 404 error, okay, if you want to throw some exception, right? So then, so you can write it. Suppose I'm going to throw like new product. Okay, okay, product not found exception. So I will say that product not found. Okay, so like this you can deal with like different status codes here. So otherwise if it is not 404 error, if it is a 200 error, sorry, 200 status code, right? So in the else condition directly I will say that, so this is a raw response, so uh, we need to like map, we need to like convert the values here. So how we are going to convert the values is, we need to write like object mapper here. Okay, so mapper new object mapper. Okay, and we have like mapper dot read value, so this will take response dot get body. Okay, and product dot class. Okay, so that's it. So here I will create some product. Okay, let's assign this converted value to this product, right? So let's return this product here. Okay, so why it's throwing the error? This is response entity, right? So let's maximize this. So what I will do is entity dot okay, that's it, right? So now, so like this you can make use this exchange method. So this time instead of throwing that error on the console, so what I'm going to do is this error should be thrown in my postman console. So to do this, basically we require like global exception handler. So we need to deal with the global exception handler. So in the global exception handler, I will handle this product not exception. Okay, so that like it will throw the exception in the postman console, right? Okay, so this is my global exception handler. We have like two types of exception. One is like product not found exception, so we need to define the exception handler. Inside this exception handler we need to define like product not exception, and another one is like normal exception, right? So in my case it should be through this product not found exception. Okay, so I think this is straightforward. I'm not going to explain this. And okay, let's restart this application. Okay, application has been started. So let's hit this endpoint again. Okay, this time we got this exception on the postman console, right? So like this you can use this exchange method. So if you want to play with like request and the response, okay, so you can use this exchange method, right? So I just used it in find by add method, so you can use in delete method as well, as you can use in like find all methods. Okay, so depends on the requirement, you can use this exchange method. Okay, I hope like I covered like all the scenarios. Okay, okay, so thanks for watching. So bye, have a good day.